Hello, everybody. Alrighty then. So, with that being out of the way, all right. So, of course, we're gonna give people a chance to come in. I hope everybody a good day this Tuesday, June 13th, 2023. Gonna give people a chance to come in. And we will probably let me see. Let me just take care of something here. And as always, guys, of course, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to watch, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Um, as I said, as we wait for more people to show up, we'll probably give it a couple minutes here. Um, I'm going to go off camera for a quick moment to take care of some things. I'll be right back. Um, and when I come back, we'll probably go over what's on tap for tonight. Anyway, I'll be right back. Alrighty then. So, we're just waiting for people to show up. So we're just past the 3 minute mark here, so we'll go ahead and um, we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about what's on tap for tonight. So tonight, of course, we're going to go over 3 articles from Bounding into Comics, including um, 2 of them anime and 1 from animation. Tower of God voice actress Laura Post accuses Crunchyroll of having blacklisted series English dubcast from reprising roles for new mobile games. I know Hero Hay covered that recently, so we'll look at the article from Bounding into Comics on that. Western critics outraged that upcoming rom-com anime, My Tiny Senpai, dares to appeal to male audiences. So some more outrage culture going on there. Um, and the Little Mermaid fan artist accused of racism, whitewashing for drawing classic Ariel in scenes from live action remake. So yeah, so basically a fan artist who decided to basically undo the race swapping that Disney did for the live action now is being called a racist for not supporting diversity. So that's pretty much what's on tap for tonight. Um, let's see. Plus, of course, the wrestling wrap up as well as we got news from WWE, AEW, and Impact Wrestling. Um, and also, let's see. Also, let me see. I'm just trying to think here. Oh. Excuse me one moment. With my new phone, I just realized there's something I got to do now. So I'll be right back, but I'll put some music on. And then when I get back, we'll get into the. All right, so we're back now. Let me check one more thing here, and then we will get into the articles here. All right, no responses there. So. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get into these articles as we were talking about. Of course, we'll also have this day in each history at the end of the night as well. So, first off, let's get into our main attractions here. The articles we'll be covering for tonight. And we have three of them. So, and I do know this first story. I know Hero Hay was covering this the other day as well. So I know this story's been out for a few days now. And Bounty in the Comics finally decided to pen a piece on it. So let's see what they have to say here. All right, Tower of God voice actress Laura Post accuses Crunchyroll of having "quote unquote" blacklisted series English dubcast from reprising roles for new mobile game. Article by Nerdigans Inc. published yesterday in the anime video game section. So, in the latest of many self-inflicted controversies faced by the anime streaming platform in recent months, English language voice actor Laura Post has accused Crunchyroll of having actively blocked her and her fellow Tower of God dub voice actors from reprising their roles for the series' upcoming mobile game. In development from veteran. Now, mind you, even when Hiro Hay had reported on this, he was indicating that this could be considered tortious interference. So let's see what they say here. In development from veteran mobile developer Netmarble, Tower of God: New World is a quote a new collective card game RPG unquote based on the world of SIU's popular Korean manhwa. Quote, the game includes an exclusive storyline that can only be experienced through gameplay, providing an additional source of enjoyment for fans of the original work, unquote, detailed Netmarble. Not only the story, but also the characters have been created to reflect the original work. Characters like, in smaller quotes, 25th Bam, Ha Yuri Zahard, and Kun um, are designed using the original settings, incorporating their abilities, skills, etc. The quality of the animations has been enhanced to allow players to relive the character's ultimate moves from the original work. Unquote. However, while many fans were intrigued at what an opportunity to team up with Bam, Kun, and Rock could offer, Post was less than elated at the announcement. Hmm. Let's see. On June 2nd, which let's see, today is the 13th, so like 11 days ago. So I believe that was a week ago this past Friday. Um, Post, who voices a number of characters in the English dub of Tower of God, including the singular goggled redhead Hua Ryun and Anak's mother, um, took to her personal Twitter account to detail why, quote, you may, or in parentheses, or may not, um, have noticed that the cast, in parentheses, full of totally awesome people who have our blessing, um, parentheses, is different from the anime, unquote. Let's see now. All right. Quote, first things first. As you may have noticed, this is from Laura's post, by the way. Um, all the actors involved are great people, unquote. She acknowledged in the opening to her thread. Quote, so many people reached out to the original cast when the auditions went out, and every single one has the original cast blessing. Support them, cheer them on, unquote. Further, further noting that, quote, the English production team, studio, director, also great. Post Post then asserted that the villain, quote, responsible for the situation, unquote, was in fact Crunchyroll themselves. Now, Crunchyroll, since buying up Funimation, since absorbing Funimation into their house, basically, um, and Sony and all that, they've been pretty known to be pretty sketchy, to say the least. So you see, when the client making the game approached a studio to begin recording the English localization, unquote, claimed Post, quote, Crunchyroll went directly to the client and told them they, in parentheses here, owned the voice prints, unquote, of the original cast. Um, and then she says in parentheses here, they do not. Quote, they went on to say that the Net Marble could legally not use any of the cast in the game in as far as here any capacity. She further recalled, unquote. Quote, not even as new characters or different characters that we originally played. So basically, Crunchyroll for some reason was blocking the VAs from, which is a pretty lousy thing to do, obviously, and that could be grounds for torturous interference. Detailed post, quote, we could not even in start here audition for new or different characters. We were blacklisted, unquote. However, despite the streaming platform's confidence in their claim of ownership over the cast quote unquote voice prints, Post asserted that quote, what Crunchyroll said is completely 100% untrue, unquote. Unquote. Quote, I personally reviewed my contracts to be sure that there was no such clause, unquote, she explained. Noting that, quote, some jobs do actually have clauses where you can't perform a character outside of, quote unquote, official capacity. It's why I don't do voice requests. Quote, in addition, unquote, the voice of Persona 5 Royals Katsumi Yoshizawa asserted, okay, so that's one of the roles she was playing. Quote, I also had multiple lawyers look over the contract and they agreed there is nothing in there to stop us from being part of the project at the very least as new or different characters, unquote. Yeah, it sounds like sounds a little bit like what Crunchyroll is trying to pull here is what Major League Baseball owners used to pull before free agency. In other words, when they signed a player, they basically signed that they claimed that they had exclusive rights to do with the player as they saw fit, including trading them to other whatever other teams they wanted to trade them to. And the players really had no say in the matter. That was, of course, before free agency came about. But it sounds exactly like what Crunchyroll is doing here, what owners used to do in Major League Baseball. All of this revealed, Post declared that, quote, Crunchyroll was completely out of line, not just ethically, and in parentheses here, like, come on, your actors need to pay rent, unparentheses, but also legally, unquote. Yeah, this could be considered torturous interference right here. Quote, they have no ground to stand on to prohibit us from playing different or new. And why would they want to? Is what I don't get. I mean, what? Okay, here's something I would ask, of course, in all this. Why should Crunchyroll have a problem with them playing the same character when first off Crunchyroll doesn't even own the characters themselves? Okay, they just simply did the localization or the dubbing in the English dubbing for for a for an anime that was originally produced in Japan. If anybody would have had any sense of say here in this, it would have been whoever originally did the Tower of God anime to begin with. Not Crunchyroll as the English localizer dubber, but whoever originally produced it might have had something to say about it. But I don't even think they would have really said anything about it, because if the Japanese had an issue with it, they would have basically blocked the game from even being released. No less, you know, saying which actors or actresses could play in it. So I think Laura's got some pretty good points here. Um, but this does look like it's grounds for torturous interference. Hey, Jr. Exner's here. Hail Lord Xenu and hail Princess Xena, our only true saviors. Peace. All right. Well, thank you for dropping it. And if you guys haven't already, of course, if you guys can like and share the stream and see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Get some more eyes on the stream here. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, continuing on here, let's see. Yeah, we read that part. Oh, actually, quote, they have no ground to stand on to prohibit us from playing different or new characters, unquote, she added. And any ground they have to prevent us from reprising is weak at best, unquote. Yeah, I don't. If as I said, I would think that the actual the Japanese company that originally produced Tower of God might have more of a say on the matter than Crunchyroll does. But anyways, however, despite having ostensibly been wronged by Crunchyroll, she lamented that unfortunately, quote, the damage was in brackets already done. The client was too scared to get involved in an overseas legal battle, so they would not entertain the idea of including any original cast members in their game, unquote. Looking for a silver lining, Post noted that in the end, Netmarble, quote, thankfully decided to do their own thing and, in brackets here, did not try to voice match us, unquote. Well, that was probably good for them. Concluding her thread with a warning for her fellow voice actors, Post summated, quote, moral of the story? We already knew Crunchyroll was not actor friendly, but in my opinion, this was a whole new level, unquote. Well, if you know, okay, Laura, here's what I would say to you then. If you know that Crunchyroll is not actor friendly, maybe you should go work for somebody else. You know, um, I don't know how you feel about Vic Mignogna, but he got a he's got a company that's dubbing some Japanese stuff with Anime Matsuri. You might want to check that out. Quote, they obviously have no problem quote, they obviously have no problem going to potential future clients without your knowledge in stars here and robbing you as an actor of the opportunity to even audition for work. Unquote. Again, this is a good case for torturous interference. I think, on the one hand, I think she and her fellow voice actors and actresses should probably consider suing Crunchyroll for torturous interference. But I know the reason she probably doesn't want to do that is because then, for fear of not getting any work in the future. Crunchyroll's, again, acting much like, Major League Baseball players, or Major League Baseball owners prior to free agency. Said the voice actress behind One Punch Man's English language Fubuki. Oh, personally, I will not be working with Crunchyroll on and stars in any future projects without the protection of a union contract. Unquote. Well, why work with them at all? I mean, not just with the protection of the, but these people are seedy. These people are not actor friendly. Why not just walk away from Crunchyroll altogether and go find some other ventures? If anything, it should free you up to even do more video. As I've heard over the years, sometimes voicing video games actually tends to be more profitable anyways than voicing actual anime television series. So she ultimately declared, quote, I strongly encourage other actors thinking about working with Crunchyroll in the future to consider that as well, unquote. As of writing, Crunchyroll has not publicly commented on Post's accusations. Pre-registration for Tower of God New World is now open ahead of the game's late July release window. I'm hoping that I can get Metal to come into the weekend edition this Sunday because I would really like to get his take on this situation, since it's an anime slash video game situation. So, right, so we're gonna get ready to move on to the next story here. And I do thank you guys for the likes and the shares already. If you haven't already, if you guys can, for those who haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. That'd be appreciated. Um, Alrighty then. Oh, continuing on with the news of the niche news of the day here. Move on to the next article here. Western critics outraged that upcoming rom-com, for those of you who don't know what that term means, it means romantic comedy, anime, in smaller quotes, My Tiny Senpai, dares to appeal to male audiences. Article by Nerdigans published yesterday in the anime section here. So, in a wave of outrage reminiscent of those faced by such previous rom-com series as Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro, and Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out, Western critics have whipped themselves into a frenzy over the fact that male audiences are the major target audience for the upcoming anime My Tiny Senpai. Wow. Yeah, they just, you know, they want everything except for what would appeal to a traditional guy, basically. Based on the titular manga by female mangaka Saizo and set to be produced by Love After World Domination Studio Project Number 9, My Tiny Senpai follows the story of Takuma Shinozaki, who is voiced in the Japanese by Yukine Shin, who voices Takamichi Hanagaki in Tokyo Revengers, a fledgling office worker who finds himself taken under the wing of his senior co-worker, Shiori Katase, whose character voiced by Hina Tachibana, who provides the Japanese voice of Satono Diamond in Usa Musume Pretty Derby. Though Shiori claims that her attention to Takuma's development is part of her duties as his senior, the adorable short stack slowly finds that her work has become, and maybe was all along, nothing more than an excuse for her to interact with the object of her affections. I wonder if this girl has a thing for short guys. I almost get the impression that's what they're talking about. Yeah. There's What does senpai mean? Uh, Senpai is a Japanese term meaning somebody who is your senior in a social situation. Usually a lot of times, most of the time when you see the word senpai, it applies in school situations. It would be like for example, in a high school situation, right? A sophomore might refer to a junior or senior classmate as senpai because they're older than him. Senpai just simply means like somebody who would be considered your senior in a social situation, or somebody's older or supposedly more mature, wiser. It's what they call an honorific, meaning you give in Japanese culture you would give honor to somebody who is older than you. So senpai just simply means it's one senior, basically. Let's see. Unsurprisingly, the mere fact that the series dared to feature a story that could be classified as a, in smaller quotes, male fantasy was enough to draw the ire of Western critics, many of whom took to social media in the wake of My Tiny Senpai's trailer about debut to voice their outrage and let loose their usual brand of misandry. Sharing a screen cap of an angry Usagi choking Umino, um, taken from the 28th episode of the original Sailor Moon series, at Mugami baselessly accused, quote, "You're telling me they're letting shoujo die just so they can pump out more soulless, plotless, bare bones wish fulfillment catered to men with increasingly specific fetishes every season," unquote. Well, I mean, if it sells, yes. If that's what's selling, if that's what people are wanting to consume, then yes, they are. Uh, quote: "You can call this good representation for short women um, with big boobs all you want, but in good faith, that the people making and watching this do not give a bleep about actual women." I don't know if that's entirely true because if I understand correctly, the person who the mangaka who created this in the first place, I think, was a woman. Uh, let's see. I'm trying to see if I can. Yeah, based on the titular manga by female mangaka Saiso. So it was actually a woman who wrote this. It was actually a woman who wrote this, and they're claiming that the people behind this are oh boy, oh boy, uh, I guess if they're on a staircase, so I think if she was okay, she might actually be shorter than him. Then just from there, it looked like she was taller, but they may be on a staircase there, where she's up a few step probably, so she could pet him on the head. Ah, all right, I misinterpreted what was going on there. But anyways, they continued, quote, "This is entirely made for people who frequent the, in smaller quotes, lowly with huge boobs tag on Pixiv." Really? Again, this is a female comic book creator who wrote this story, people. This outrage is so freaking stupid. Okay? So what, you saying that Saiso, who is a woman, mind you, a female comic book creator, female mangaka, writing this, you're saying that she's, you know, you're saying that she's basically writing something that is a lolicon or a loli story. Quote: "Also, I know that pretty much every anime is wish fulfillment to some degree." Unquote. At Mugami added, quote, "There's just been a pretty huge imbalance of it being more targeted at loser guys compared to loser girls. Well, because they're the ones who, I mean, did it ever occur to you maybe you should look at, okay, why that might be? You know, who do you think is going to be watching? Who apparently watches more anime? Loser guys or loser girls? You know, um, to a certain extent, I think it would be, the guys who tend to watch anime more. Not to say that girls don't watch anime, and I do know of girls who have watched anime before and read manga, but you know, and again, I reiterate, the person who actually wrote this manga was a woman. Likewise, at Kyoru Ki, Kyoryu Yai, um, quote, a romance is targeted at men when the girl's most distinct personality trait is being short, stubborn, with a short temper, and having boobs. Short, stubborn, with a short temper. I mean, actually, let's see. I think in Japan, I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's a name for that kind of character in Japanese anime. I believe it's called. I think it's a tsundere. You should look that up because I think what they just described right there, what in Japanese culture and in anime culture they call what they call a tsundere, which is a which. Okay, no, it's not a tsunderes are those who act harsh at the beginning and then slowly become warmer as time goes on. That's what a tsundere is. But I'm sure that this follows a particular archetype um, in the anime community there. So um, quote, I'm sorry, but with all the crying faces there, y'all can totally enjoy it, and that's cool, unquote. They added, quote, but it's so obviously targeted at men because I can assure you most women don't want to watch this type of stuff. Are you sure about that? Maybe they do. It would be interesting to find out when this anime does actually show. It would be interesting to see what demographics actually do watch it. You know, if anything, you do have kind of the woman in the story, the girl in the story, who's the one in the position of power there. So, dismissing the series' entire premise just because it features a smaller woman, at Cold Flame 96 asserted, quote, this would probably be cute if it wasn't so clearly meant to be a fetish. Why can't straight men be normal about women for once? Oh my, oh God. I'm sure everybody has a particular fascination, particularly desire. Everybody's got a fetish, okay? And these people are stupid. These crybabies are stupid. They're DOD. And we all know what that means, right? Uh, some even took things a step further and began claiming that since Shiori is under 5'5", and thanks to the series' anime art style, bears a childlike appearance. Um, she is, small quote, minor coded. Thus, anyone who was attracted to them of being a pedophile, yeah, basically being accused of being a pedophile. Now, this is the tricky thing about lowly art and lowly characters. The term lowly, Loli, I think generally means one who has a childlike appearance. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are an actual child. There's many fantasy animes where you have characters who are hundreds and thousands of years old, but yet they look like a child because that maybe they're a fairy or maybe they're a demon, maybe they're an elf, yet they look like a child because at least in their culture they physically age a lot slower than humans do. But this is a problem with lowly. One of the problems with lowly stuff, it's not that it encourages pedophilia as people like to claim it does. Is that the characters look like children, so you have some very stupid people out there who will naturally assume they are children, or they look so much like children that therefore they are children. It's stupid logic right there, stupid reasoning. You know, there are some adults. Okay, I'll give you another example of what I'm talking about. So, if any of you have ever seen the anime Doki Doki School Hours, right? One of the main characters there is the teacher who's named Mika Suzuki. She even within the anime, they constantly make jokes about how she looks like a child. She looks like a woman who has not gone through puberty, even though it is stated several times that she's 27 years old. Okay, even her, she's a 27-year-old teacher, still lives at home with her parents. That's from Doki Doki School Hours. Okay, and yet these people would be outraged by some of the stuff that happens on that show. Oh, hey, Rick. Hi, all. Hey, Rick. Liking boobs is a fetish now. Apparently, to some of the outrage mob on Twitter and Reddit and all that, Rick. That's where I think a lot of this is coming from. Basically, and it's coming from out west here, where you have these outrage mobs going after. I have to step away from saying vaginal sex is a fetish. Yeah, well, again, as I said the other day, a lot of these SJWs need to be locked up in an asylum somewhere, wrapped up in a straitjacket, and be allowed to bang their heads on the rubber wall. And I thank you for the like and the share. And we get some more friendly people in here. Yeah. So, yeah, this story we're covering. This story we're covering here, Rick, is basically the Western critics once again jumping on anime's throat, Japanese anime's throat, because this latest rom-com that's going to be debuting here soon, called My Tiny Senpai. It's about a short woman being attracted to her, to what they call a kohai, which is referring to somebody who's in a lower. So as I explained earlier to you, Jr. Senpai means somebody who's in a higher social level than you, like somebody who's older or more mature. The term kohai in Japanese means somebody who's a lower level than you. So, anyways, quote, short business women exist, unquote. We know damn bleeping well why y'all are actually watching this garbage, unquote. Whined at Yuri at Yivril Things. Quote, I like short women, but I like it when they're not reduced to, quote, in smaller quotes, short acts childish, would be confused for an 11-year-old, but she's got massive breasts, so you know she's not a child, unquote. Again, again, the leaps in logic here are just so incredibly stupid here. Okay? There's nothing wrong with a short adult woman, acting on occasion or around her friends, or when appropriate, acting like a child. Okay? You know, what depending upon what you mean by acting like, if you mean acting like friendly, acting like hyper, maybe being a little cutesy, that's okay. Yes, it is the original fetish. I guess from a biblical standpoint, I would say that Rick has a point there. I love in small quote, you've never seen a woman um, replies defending this degenerate pedophile bait filth like women um, insulted at Shinobu, my goat. Quote, just shrink into preteens normally or something. Okay, and let me once again reiterate this for people. The woman who wrote the original manga that this anime is based, or the person who originally wrote the manga that this rom-com anime is based on, is a woman. She's a female mangaka or female, comics creator. So, yeah, I mean, but refusing to even honestly engage with the debate at Suguru Ghetto tweeted, quote, IDGAF, I don't, you know, if she's bleeping 180 years old or something here. She's portrayed as a kid, parentheses, look at those D expressions and the voice acting. Well, first off, I don't think she's being, not too out of the way there, because this is a work environment that they're in, based on what I read earlier in the article here. While being sexualized, and it's weird. Maybe to you, but not to anybody else. Again, there are a lot of people who there are a lot of people who are into it. Oddly attempting to gatekeep a body type from being depicted by an entire nation at Chop Pints argued, quote, grown women being short are real, but I don't want Japan depicting us. Quote, personally, I think it's hard to believe that they're not trying to cater to that kind of audience when they have a consistent issue with CP. Yeah, and of course, this is these SJW's big thing. In the back of their now they're being more blatant about it, at least now. They're here. This person just openly admitted that they believe Japanese people are the P word. Okay, this person right here just admitted to everybody on Twitter there that they believe Japanese people. So, and I'm running. Oh, okay. So I was gonna do 3 stories, but I'm actually gonna stop here because we're already past 50 minutes here. Should try to get to the rest of it because I do try to keep these inside of an hour, but looks like we're gonna go over a little bit here. But I'll save the story I was going to do as a third story for tomorrow because these two that I just did right now really did take quite a bit of time because there's a lot of commentary meant for it. So I'll do the other story, the Little Mermaid story, tomorrow. So we'll start to move along here. My Tiny Senpai is scheduled to begin its new job on July 1st. As of writing, no simulcast plans for the series have been announced. Okay, so yeah, so that's a lot of these people who criticize a lot of these animes like this, I think in the back of their minds they honestly believe that the Japanese people are the P word, and they want to accuse everybody else of racism. That's a form of racism right there. To just with one broad stroke just cast such a dispersion on an entire country, on an entire people. See, these people would be having fits if people started saying all black people are the P word, or all trans people are the P word, or all LGBTQ people or the alphabet agenda people are the P word. These people would be having literal fits, but they have no consumption about casting such a damned depungement on an entire country, on an entire race of people. That's hypocrisy 101 right there, folks. Anyways, as I said, the third story I was going to do tonight, I'll push back probably, well, tomorrow, maybe Thursday at the latest, because depending upon, of course, if I do the Indie Comic Showcase story tomorrow, or wait on that till Thursday. So probably Thursday at the latest. But Mike, this Friday, could you do a top 5 anime for newbies? I've only watched a handful, and you are my personal anime expert. Well, I can't do it on Friday. I can't do it on Friday only because remember Friday is our historical comic retrospect, Jr. So that's going to be that's going to be. But you given me an idea for something to do other than just simply news coverage. That's something that maybe I could look into doing if you are you are interested. At least give you what my top 5 anime are and talk about those if you want. I could do something like that. Thursday, it's my week off. Um, yeah. I guess I can give it a try. Maybe I'll think about it. Because I haven't done a whole lot of anime stories but of course, at this point right now, a lot of the animes for like the spring season for anime release over Japan is winding down right now. But if you really want, like, what I'm guessing is you want me to do a show on what I would consider my top 5 anime recommendations would be, right? Um, what my all-time favorites are, and I am 50% of your audience. Yeah, you're one of the guys who does come every day, and that, um, yeah, I guess I could probably do that. I'll have to figure out exactly how I would do that, but that is a good idea, though. Yes, your expertise. I might, yeah, yeah, that does sound like a good idea. Of course, if you can get other people who might be interested to come and watch, it'd make it even better. You know, I have to go back and think about some of my favorites because I have so many. Um, you want it to just be more general, or is there like a specific? Well, I know you're probably not as well aware of specific genres. Um, because there's of course action adventure, there's mecha, there's slice of life, there's all kinds of stuff. But um, so I probably, yeah, I guess I probably could put some stuff together. I guess I'll try. I'll try to do. I'll be thinking about it. Jr. Maybe I will do something like that over the next sometime over the next couple of days here. But I've got a. I'm a 50-year-old male newbie. All right, so all right. I have to. What I have to do. I'll try to do it sometime in the next day or two. If not tomorrow, then definitely Thursday. I have to go back and think what my top five. I mean, I kind of have an idea of ones I would recommend. Um, you know, um, so I've got some idea of, yeah. Um, well, obviously some action adventures, stuff. Some slice of life. I mean, um, you know, again, I don't know your specific interest, mind you, like what would appeal to you. So, um, I like Castlevania and Chainsaw Man. All right, so at least that gives. Well, so at least from that, I would say you're obviously into horror and gore stuff. So, um, so I got, you know, yeah, I'll be thinking about that maybe tonight and tomorrow, early tomorrow, and see what I can come up with. I may do a show like that, um, for you, RJ or Jr. All right, so with that, I think what I'm going to do now, we're going to move on. I'm going to try to go through the. Hey, Metal would probably like Helsing then, yeah, or maybe, well, maybe even better yet, we could even do that on. Well, maybe we'll get into that discussion on Sunday too, if everybody's here. Um, But I'll probably try to set that up sometime in the next day or two. So I just got to think about what I'd be talking about there. So, anyways, so I'm gonna move on to the wrestling wrap up here. We're already at the hour mark, so we're gonna obviously be going over a little bit here. I'm gonna move on to the wrestling wrap up, and then do this day in each history. Then we'll wrap up. So, anyways, some couple of interesting stories coming out of WWE, as they've already signed the first two matches for this year's Money in the Bank event. Uh, Seth Rollins will be defending the world title against Finn Balor of the Judgment Day, and Cody Rhodes will be taking on Dominic Mysterio. So they've already signed the first couple matches for Money in the Bank. Now, also they've been talking about repackaging some of the people. They've been repackaging, Natalia and Indus Sher, the Indian tag team. Part of the reason they've been looking to push Indus Sher is because WWE, of course, wants to strengthen their market in India, the country of India, not, of course, Native Americans. And Natalia, some people have argued she may be at the point in her career where, she doesn't really need a repackaging because, she's at this point in her career what they call a good hand, somebody who can help get younger talent over. So, and then from last night's Raw, Cody Rhodes defeated The Miz to open up the night. Becky Lynch defeated Chelsea Green. In a Money in the Bank qualifier, Damian Priest advanced to the Money in the Bank. Now, Damian, it looks like from what I've been seeing, it looks like they've been trying to set up a situation where they may be taking Damian Priest out of the Judgment Day faction and pushing him more towards, the top of the card. Bronson Reed defeated Ricochet by a DQ. In a battle of two tag team wrestlers, Shayna Baszler defeated Raquel Rodriguez. Chad Gable defeated Eric, and for apparently the WWE unified tag team titles, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn retained over the Imperium duo of Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser. So that's pretty much all the WWE news I have for you. Now we'll go to some AEW news. A couple of things of interest coming out of AEW. One of the coaches / producers was just recently fired, as BJ Whitmer, who was recently arrested for domestic violence, was released from his contract was terminated from AEW. Don't know all the details about the domestic violence situation, but they decided that it was time to part ways with him. And that's all. Let's see. And on tomorrow night's Dynamite, already signed for tomorrow night's Dynamite, Wardlow will be defending the TNT title against Jake Hager of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Tony Storm defends the AEW Women's World title against Sky Blue. In a world title eliminator match, which is what they use to basically help determine if somebody's ready to challenge for a title. Adam Cole will be challenging MJF. This is kind of a secondary type title defense for MJF in terms of what he's defending is the chance to challenge him for the title. So if Adam Cole wins this match, he then will he'll be guaranteed a title shot sometime in the near future. Also, in an 8-man tag, AW International Champion Orange Cassidy teams with Darby Allin, Keith Lee, and Sting take on the Mogul Embassy members of Swerve Strickland and the Ring of Honor World 6-man tag champions Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leone with Prince Nana in their corner. And then in a 6-man tag team match, you have 3 members of the Elite of Adam Page and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, taking on 3 members of the Blackpool Combat Club of Ring of Honor World Champion Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, and Wheeler Yuta, the former Pure Champion. Now, with that, we just have one more piece of wrestling news to just touch upon real quick, then we'll move on to this day in each history. As it was recently confirmed that Jordan Grace's contract did, in fact, expire at the end of May with Impact Wrestling. And as such, her last appearance with the company was on the June 1st broadcast of Impact Wrestling on Access TV. She has since announced that she is taking a break from pro wrestling to pursue other ventures, other projects. So I hope all the best for her. With that, now it's time for us to take a look back at this day in each history. History! Today being, of course, June 13th, 2023. Let's take a look back at this day in each history. And, of course, the first thing I want to do is I'd like to wish a happy 70th birthday to Tim Allen, to actor, comedian Tim Allen. So, of course, everybody knows him from such comedy hits as Home Improvement and Last Man Standing. But in the animated world, we know him as the voice of Buzz Lightyear from the Toy Story franchise. So, happy 70th birthday to the voice of Buzz Lightyear from the Toy Story franchise, Tim Allen. With that, moving on to the next piece of each history as we go to 50 years ago, as on this date 50 years ago today, in 1973, down in EMLL in Mexico, Alfonso Dantes defeats Rey Mendoza for the NWA World Light Heavyweight Championship on this date 50 years ago today. So on this date 50 years ago today, Alfonso Dantes defeats Rey Mendoza for the NWA World Light Heavyweight Championship. Now, at the time, of course, now known as CMLL, Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre, which, of course, translates as World Wrestling Council. Back in those days, the company was known as EMLL, or Empresa Mundial de Lucha Libre, or World Wrestling Enterprises. They were at the time an NWA affiliate, therefore the branding of the title. So that happened 50 years ago today, and now we go back just 5 years ago today, as on this date 5 years ago today. All right. On this date 5 years ago today, from Valiant would release the 10th issue of Bloodshot Salvation on this date. In 2018, 5 years ago today, it sold for $3.99. 32 pages, featuring the character Bloodshot, written by Jeff Lemire, with art by Doug T. Braithwaite. Lettering done by Simon Boland and coloring by Jordi Belair. So, all right. So, anyways, that's all I have for you guys tonight. I will look into doing a special top 5 anime recommendation show, probably within the next day or two, since I was asked to do it. For somebody who's obviously shown that he's been here and been here pretty regularly, so I will look to do that as early as tomorrow, as late as Thursday. So I thank everybody for being here, and don't forget this Friday, of course, I have Rex from Demon Flyer Momentum with me, as we'll be finishing off our our look at our look at we'll be finishing off our look at books that went on sale in October 1939. We'll be focusing in, of course, on Future Syndicate's Comics on Parade, Volume 1, Number 15. I thank y'all for being here tonight. I thank you guys for the likes and the shares. I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.